They did show up.
How you doing, boss?
Listen, man, some of our missionaries called yesterday, and they come with us about, and they will be here, he will be here next Sunday afternoon.
Okay, okay,
Not preempted.
okay, okay. Yeah, that's okay, you know. I've got, yeah, I'll be traveling that afternoon, so I'll be in I'm heading to Texas.
The people called,
Yeah, so pray for me. So that'll be okay, and I'll be in Montgomery Saturday, so I'll be okay with so next Sunday. Next Sunday.
next Sunday
Okay.
afternoon.
Okay. Good deal. Well, that'll
Yeah,
work.
they are real good for all of them at this point. Starling and Powers and in-law and black man over in Mississippi. His wife, that's, great country.
Oh, okay.
With those, period time. Just one of them. We use it out. And for the starlings, they're having medical problems. And
You got a very
he's devoted his lifetime of working for money.
Yes.
Almost everybody else is last 2 years. They were able to go back to where money was. He told me that they were hoping that they had moved, well, I think moved down to Point.
Okay.
Being near their daughter, and she had the son much of the work. They were doing locally, matches,
Okay.
but they had, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is, you know him, Harvey? He's about 6, much of it. He told me that, as I was saying, the spirit with it, but the body just won't do it.
Yeah.
And they lost the boy in tragedy, several years. Oh, now, active in that work in old man, they have a lot of responsibility.
Have it.
They accepted some of the people in Ukraine.
Yes.
And, so the church is pretty strong in Ukraine. They had to move out, so some of them went to Romania, and they had, 4 or 5. Well, they had no baptism in the last 2 or 3 months, and they had in the previous year. But he was, it was wonderful, or had a great outlook on life. I like to be around people pretty well know what life's all about.
Yes. It does make a difference, doesn't it?
Somebody asked me one time, why would you like to be around those people? I said, they're the best teachers. They're the best teachers. You know, they teach what you don't get out of the book.
Right. Absolutely. And they know it's true.
Oh, well, I thought it was good. I'd always ask my students, anybody have a problem? Little Johnny raised his hand. Said, you have a problem? You want other students to help you? Oh, well, we don't know what to do. We don't know what to do. Some of our peers are best teachers, but the better teachers, so I told you earlier.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I could go to the research society, that was pretty quiet. Go to the phone, I could be there, very animal. somebody.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you.
Oh, good, thank
Have a
you.
good class. I appreciate it.
We need to get charged up, my helper will be back with the equipment in just a minute. I think you're with. There you go. Hey, Lou. It's charged. In our last several classes, we looked at the subject of pattern, and I had read from Titus chapter 2 and verse number 7, where that God says that in all things we are to show ourselves or thyself a pattern of good works. When we obey the gospel, we have established the foundation for a different pattern. I had obtained, and Maddie bought me 2 books the other day that are authored by Phil Robertson, who is the head of the Duck dynasty. located in Louisiana. And in his books, in practically all of them, he goes through the pattern of his life earlier and how that pattern can be changed. He said in one of his books that the place to go when you're 28 years old is not to the church building, it's to the honky-tonk. And until a person changes that pattern, he'll always do that. But if a person changes that pattern and no longer wants to live that kind of life, but live a godly life, then the pattern of their life will show it. And notice here in this verse, and I don't know that I mentioned this last Lord's Day, that in doctrine or in teaching, we should show uncorruptness, gravity, and sincerity. That is not enough just to say that I'll change. But there must be an example set to show that we have. Jimmy Allen, who for many years taught at Harding University and was a well-known gospel preacher, indicated that even in his early life, he said, I had the wrong pattern. And I had to change. And that's not only true for him, but that's true for all of us. If we do something over and over and over again and get the same results over and over and over again, and it's not the right kind of pattern, what do we need to do? We need to change. It's told of Thomas Edison. I don't know if this is legend or the truth. But somebody questioned him about the invention of the incandescent light, the light bulb. And in the process of his testing for that thing, somebody said, why don't you just give up? You've tried and tried and tried and tried, and you failed and you failed and you failed and you failed. And he supposedly made this statement, well, I've just found 10,000 ways that it won't work. Now, what if a person waits too late? Examples in the Bible of those who were taught the truth and not knowing whether they ever acceded to the truth or not, at that time, they refused it. Those that Paul met, those that Christ met, those that other of the apostles met. We can't dwell on things like that, but I had a man back in the early 1960s, whose wife was a dedicated member of the body of Christ, and he told me, he said, Gary, one of these days I'll do it. But time ran out for him. The time comes when we no longer have time to do certain things. And if our pattern is not consistent with that which God would have us to establish, then we need to change. I think one of the greatest experiences that any person can ever have is to be a teacher of children. Children teach us things that are not necessarily revealed by some psychologist. I don't know how many years Maddie has taught. You started what, in high school, junior high, teaching a Bible class? Most of us have taught or attempted to teach Bible classes for many years. But Brother Rushing and I were talking about this before I was talking about it, he was listening before the services. That we can learn more from people than we can out of a book. I go to the doctor's office with Maddie. And you learn a lot by just watching people.